Hey everyone, so I quickly wanted to talk about anxiety. This is just a video I'm recording off of my phone, which is a really humbling experience because I really wanted to record it on my camera and edit it and use my tripod and make it amazing, but it's something that's been on my heart for a while now and I just kind of want to talk about it a little bit. Hopefully this video can help those of you who might feel like you're dealing with anxiety, or you have friends who deal with anxiety and you want to help them, or if you just want to hear me talk and just learn something new. I plan to be very vulnerable. I'm going to share about my experiences and hopefully throw in some tips. And it's mainly just going to be a lot of ramble on that stuff, so hopefully you guys can get something out of it. And yeah, let's get started. For starters, what is anxiety? So anxiety is basically the feeling of fear. A lot of times, if it's at least for somebody like myself, I'm usually worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet. I'm thinking about things that might happen 5, 10, 20 years down the line, and I'm usually what happens is a decision that I have to make that's coming up, I get anxiety because I'm starting to stress, like, what if I make the wrong decision, or what if this doesn't work out, and et cetera, et cetera. So basically, anxiety is just that feeling of fear, usually for something that's coming up in the future. Anxiety is a mental illness. So I just want to put that out there. Also, for those of you who may be like me and I didn't know much about anxiety or anything like that until very recently. It's probably been within this year. I used to think mental illness was an extreme, like, full-on depression. I didn't know much about mental illnesses. So if you're somebody like me, anxiety is a mental illness, but don't let that word scare you, because when my doctor told me that, I was very scared. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm ill in the brain, this is not good. But that is a myth. Mental illness does not have to scare you, but for those of you wondering if anxiety is a mental illness, it is. Somebody can fact check me on that, but I am listening to my doctor and he said it was. So yeah. So I'm gonna go over a few things because I can ramble all day. I'm gonna go over what anxiety feels like, what triggers anxiety, and ways to help anxiety / ways you can help your friends with anxiety. So what anxiety feels like. Now this can be different case by case. Everybody probably feels something different. So I'll just share my experiences. So for me, anxiety usually feels as if I got hit by a truck of worries. It usually slaps me in the face, especially if I'm having an extreme anxiety attack. For example, this morning, I actually did have a very extreme anxiety attack. I woke up around 7 a.m. and I just got hit with so many worries and so much doubt and so much just concern for things that haven't even happened yet. And usually it's scenarios I'm making up in my head that might happen, and my heart starts racing really, really fast. My mind starts trying to beat my heart racing, but racing faster, which sucks. I feel like I can't catch a breath. I have asthma, so I notice I start like breathing, and it's not like I'm just sitting there like, no, it's not usually like that. Usually it's like if I'm waking up from it, I'm usually underneath my covers and my head's going and I'm kind of stuck in a world inside my head. Like, I'm not really there. I'm more just really in my head, and that is what mental illnesses do. You know, they get you trapped in your head. It's a mental thing. And so I'm there, and the next thing you know, when I like snap back, I'm in full tears and I'm panicking after worrying for about 10 minutes about things that, you know, I just don't have control over right now. And so that's what anxiety looks like. And like I said, that's more of an extreme case. Sometimes here and there, I'll tell my friends, like, oh, I'm feeling a little anxious, and that's usually because I'm about to go take a test, or I might have to go do something a little scary. And so those are usually more mild anxieties. A lot of people usually experience the mild ones where it's kind of, you know, you're about to go present and you're really, really nervous about that. So there's different levels to anxiety, but that's what it feels like for me. Okay, number 2. What triggers anxiety? Now, this is a case-by-case thing. Everybody has different trigger points. So I'll share some of mine and talk a little bit about that, and then I'll list some of the other ones. So one of mine is conflict. I hate conflict. It's something I'm trying to work on, but I notice if I am anticipating conflict, I get very anxious. Another one is overthinking. I overthink a lot. I care a lot about what people think about me, which I am working on and I've gotten so much better on. And I'm just gonna be completely honest with you guys. I feel like other people have told me that they care a lot about what other people think of them too, and it's something that really can cause anxiety, overthinking things. I overthink situations, I'm gonna be honest again. So overthinking can trigger anxiety. Also, as I wrote them all down. Also, environment. Your environment is a huge one that can trigger your anxiety. Make sure you have a good environment. Another one is stress. Then there's caffeine, and there's health issues, and then there's, oh, I wrote them down again. Oh, there's financial concerns. I know if I have a bill coming up and I might have spent too much over the weekend, I get mad anxiety because I'm like, how am I gonna pay this? So financial concerns. And there's personal triggers, which is my overthinking that qualifies as a personal trigger. And public events, that's like one of the popular ones. A lot of times people don't really like, sometimes people get anxious in confined environments, or sometimes they don't want to go up and speak somewhere. So those are all some of many trigger anxiety points. So I was about to say something, but I'm gonna do it in my next one. Okay, and so for the final one, how you can help ease that anxiety, how you can help your friends when they're having anxiety attacks, or if they're coming to you saying that they're very anxious. So something that I was about to say before is figure out what their triggers are. If you're a friend trying to help somebody else, try to see if they know what their trigger points are. And if you're trying to help your own anxiety, try to understand your trigger points first. That's the first step you need to do. Once I understood more what triggered my anxiety, I tried to be one step ahead of the game and make sure I'm not triggered. So for instance, financial issues, if I know that I really want to go out over the weekend and it might be an expensive weekend, I look the week. So if I know I'm going out over the weekend, and I know I'm gonna spend a lot of money, I look at that next following week and see what I have to pay. And I pay that almost a week or two in advance, or I try to. It doesn't happen all the time, which is why I still have anxiety, but I try to if I can, so then I'm not worried about that later on. It's always a good thing to pay your bills on time, but hey, not all of us do. And so that's just a prime example on how you can control your anxiety. Overthinking, if you're somebody that overthinks like me, kind of just step back, take a deep breath, and be present. That helps with a lot of things just in anxiety period, is just being present, because a lot of times we are far ahead than what we need to be. So first, figure out what your trigger points are, identify them. If you're a friend helping somebody else, see if you can kind of identify them, see if you can try to kind of see when they get more anxious, or ask them if they know what their trigger points are, and maybe just talk with them and help them kind of like figure that out if they don't know. It's a great way to bond. It's a great way to get to know your friend a little bit more, and it's kind of a good way to get to know yourself a little bit more, to see if maybe those are some things that might be hindering you as well. Another way to help your friends with anxiety is, a lot of the times if your friend is going through an anxiety attack, most likely they're worrying about something that has not happened yet, like I've said billions of times. So tell them to take a deep breath. Say, hey, I know you know this already, but breathe. Breathe with them. I had one really good friend. I was just going. I'm actually gonna say his name. His name's John. We were out getting breakfast, and I was like, just saying, but John, what if this happens and this and then this and then this, and what if I can't do this, and what if this? And he was like, whoa. Like, he was like, have you done yoga before? He's like, you just need to take a step back and breathe. And he was like, we're gonna breathe right now. And that was one of the coolest things a friend has done for me, is he showed me a quick, easy technique to do with my hands with my breathing. I think it was like one and then out and another one. And I actually still do that to this day when I'm feeling anxious. So if you're a friend wanting to help another friend with anxiety and you see them just going on this huge rant, tell them to breathe. Tell them to breathe. Sometimes, depending on the person, don't always tell them to relax, because that can be taken as if what they're worried about is not something that is worth their concern. So be really careful when you tell somebody relax. If you are going to tell somebody to relax, do it in a nurturing way, but tell them to breathe, figure out their trigger points, give them a hug. I'm not a huge hugger, but sometimes once my friends give me that hug, they force it on me, I break down, and I'm like, you know what? Life isn't that bad. It's great. Tell them you love them. Tell them it's gonna be okay. Tell them it's okay to not know what's gonna happen next, but all they can do is live in the right now. And for those of you who struggle with anxiety, that goes for you too. It's okay to have worries. We all do. But don't let your worries consume you. Don't let that consume your life. Don't give in to the anxiety. You got this. You're strong. You're powerful. And you're capable. If you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. Sorry, this video was a lot of rambling. Hopefully it made sense. Hopefully it helped. But I just want you guys to know that if you are struggling with anxiety, it is a real thing. Your feelings are real. Your feelings matter. It happens. Reach out to somebody when you go through your anxiety attacks. Don't try to do it alone unless you really, really want to. Another thing I mentioned for me, I have a playlist set up if I'm feeling really anxious, especially if I'm in the car. Put on that playlist, put in music that you like. I personally like listening to worship music. I also like listening to Calvin Harris because I love his beats. They're just really like groovy. So put those things on that relax you. You got this. I'm here for you. There's other people there for you. There's other people that love you, and there's other people that want to see you get through it. So you got it. And yeah, until next time.